Coming up on Mountain News this morning, fentanyl grabs the attention of leaders on the state and national levels, and lawmakers in West Virginia approve a proposal to make some changes to a bill that seeks to ban certain health care for transgender youth.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Well, good morning to you. 6 o'clock. It's Monday, and I'm Dakota Makris. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at that forecast this morning. And Brandon, I am just currently suddenly flustered this morning. I don't know why. Well, there's just a lot of things going on over here that I'm doing at once, and And I think the weather has me flustered maybe.
Exactly. And then, of course, you know, we aired that story earlier about Bare Minimum Monday. So.
Hey, listen, I live by that now. No one asked me to do a thing today because I'm going to show up, maybe send an email.
That's right.
I'm done.
Exactly. All right, let's get into the forecast this morning. As you head out the door, we're going to see some dreary conditions out there the last few hours. But active on the satellite and radar, some moisture here and there. Had some pockets of rain overnight, had some pockets of some wintry mix, some snowflakes. So again, be aware that all that is going to be an ongoing situation today. Downtown Whitesburg, wet roads this morning, so take it easy out there. Jacket weather for sure. Everybody's in the 30s, and they will not move too much today. 32 in Wise, 40 in Monticello. That's the only exception, but I expect them to drop into the upper 30s here for too long. Right around 37 by about 7 o'clock. You see some warm air to our south, but even still, there's not much warm air in Atlanta. There's not much warm air in Myrtle Beach, both at 46. Springfield, Missouri is at 24. Indianapolis, 29. Pittsburgh, 32. The Big Apple, 39. So again, it's not too warm anywhere this morning. Breakfast forecast, as you head out the door, we're going to see temperatures right around 37. Those will stay stable through most of the day, so we'll be keeping an eye on things. Don't forget rain jackets or winter jackets. It all depends on what your preference is, but you're going to be seeing some drizzle off and on throughout the day. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Fentanyl has grabbed the attention of leaders nationally and statewide. Kentucky House Bill 353, which would decriminalize fentanyl testing strips, among other testing tools, passed through the House as a need for action grows. Our Chandler Wilcox talked with recovery specialists about how much damage the drug has caused.
The CDC says fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine.
Fentanyl is not long-acting in the body, but when you take fentanyl, often the dose is not measurable, and people stop breathing, and before somebody can figure out what's going on, they're dead.
Addiction specialists have found people not knowing they have even consumed it.
Marijuana is being laced with fentanyl. Meth is being laced with fentanyl. People think they're getting a pain pill, and it's actually a fentanyl tablet. So some of the overdoses are completely unintentional from the standpoint that the people using it don't even know that they're taking fentanyl.
That is another reason the Perry County government is acting quick with opioid settlement funds. While jailer Minor Allen says people are not necessarily getting arrested while addicted to fentanyl, some of the worst case scenarios involve the powerful drug.
Most of the time it's going to be a disastrous situation to the point where that person's not going to recover from that. There's no bringing them out of it. The ones that do are extremely blessed and lucky to still be alive.
The Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy reported a 14.5% increase of overdose deaths from 2020 to 2021. More than 70% of those involve fentanyl. Addiction recovery specialists fear that number could only be growing. In Hazard, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
The CDC says there are two types of fentanyl, a pharmaceutical version that is prescribed for severe pain. The other is from manufactured fentanyl, which is distributed illegally and often added to other drugs. Well, so far this legislative session, we've seen several controversial bills passed. Friday, the Kentucky Senate passed a bill that would ban drag shows on public property and anywhere minors are present. Senate Bill 115 now heads to the House. Senate Bill 47 would give Kentuckians access to medical marijuana if recommended by their doctor. The bill is on the agenda for the Senate Committee on Licensing and Operations on Tuesday, along with the Gray Machine Bill, which passed the House. Last week, a legislative panel unanimously passed a bill to legalize and regulate sports betting in Kentucky.
The bill before you today will put this industry in a legal and regulated status so that everyone knows what the framework is.
Lawmakers will meet through Thursday, then adjourn for a veto session before coming back on March 29th. The session ends March 30th. West Virginia Republicans swiftly approved a proposal to add mental health exemptions to a bill that would ban certain health care for transgender youth. The legislation would prohibit gender-altering medication and surgery to most anyone under the age of 18. Saturday's vote came one day after the Senate Majority Leader led an effort to protect hormonal therapy for certain children with severe gender dysphoria.
There was up to a 70% reduction in suicide. I mean, that in itself should say enough, but the fact that these kids get their life back.
Which is more important, these children or how we're perceived by our voters? And the lives of these children are critical for us to protect, and this is a very narrow allowance.
The Senate's Majority Leader contends the legislation is about protecting children, both in prohibiting gender-altering surgery and protecting therapy for those who need it most. The bill now heads to West Virginia's governor. Well, during the weekend, the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter hosted free parvo vaccinations for dogs at 4 different locations across the region. Those with the animal shelters say they've seen an increase in parvovirus in dogs recently. So they wanted to host a free vaccination event at easily accessible locations so more people can come out to use these services. The event also included pet adoptions and grooming services.
And we're trying to get the word out to people, especially with new puppies, how vital it is to get these vaccines in. You can get parvo just by setting them on the grass, or maybe another person handling a dog that had parvo. It's just spread so easily.
The Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter will be hosting more parvo vaccination events in the next few months. The shelter also offers a low-cost spay and neuter program. You can find out more on WYMT.com.
6:07 here on this Monday morning. We're seeing a lot of dense fog up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain on US 119, so be careful if you're traveling across any of the higher elevations this morning. Our camera's showing that dense fog, so take it easy out there. Temperatures basically in the 30s from 32 in Wise. I said basically because Monticello is hanging tough there at 40 this morning, so we're going to continue to see some mid to upper 30s across the region in many locations, so you will need a little extra coffee on your way out the door just to get you going here. And we're going to see again some cold temperatures off and on throughout the day. As we take a look at our dozen donut forecast for the next dozen hours, you'll see a back and forth mix of cloud cover, some drizzle, some colder temperatures, all of the above on the way as we head into the afternoon. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. When we come back here on Mountain News this morning, the federal government attempts to handle the fallout from the second largest banking failure in U.S. history.